What's going on, Ron? Let's unmute, baby. What's going on?
Hey guys, how are you? Sorry about that. Thank you for tuning in to the MBK NBA report. I'm your man Ron, and that's my co-host John, and we are back at it once again.
That is right.
Um, we're gonna try to hit you guys with all the info we can about what's going on currently. I think this show is a little different because of the fact that we just hit the 20 game mark not too long ago. It's probably around the 21 game mark if we're being for real. But
Right.
so yeah, we might touch on a couple other teams real quick just to open up the NBA a little bit because there's a lot going on and some exciting stuff took place yesterday. So once again, thank you for tuning in, and let's go.
Let's
To
go.
start off in the Eastern Conference, the Brooklyn Nets are now at the top of the Eastern Conference at 15-6. The Orlando Magic are still in the basement of the Eastern Conference at 4-18 and have lost their last 7 in a row. And then our New York Knicks, no matter what is going on, for whatever reason, they're still in seventh place.
Stuck in seven.
And they're at 11-10, just coming off a very tough loss to the Brooklyn Nets.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. I'm sure we're gonna get into that game a little bit, John. Man, it is what it is, bro.
Right.
We're gonna be okay.
We're gonna be all right.
I know the ledge. But just starting off, guys. The Brooklyn Nets have turned out to be a very surprising team in the way that they've turned it around so quickly. And I'm not one who can say I definitely saw this coming this fast. I knew that they would get it back, but this is happening pretty quickly. I mean, right now, they're 15-6. Durant is still one of the top scorers, and I think he's tied with Steph Curry. Or maybe Steph Curry is right there above him by like a percentage point, but he's still averaging 28 points per game. Harden has picked up his level of play. He was averaging 18 points per game before. Now he's averaging 21. His numbers are almost triple-double like every night. LaMarcus Aldridge is still their third best scorer at 13 points per game. But the team has definitely been hot behind Kevin Durant, man. So, hey, John, listen, what can you say about this team, bro? What do you think about what's going on with them right now?
They're riding their thoroughbreds, right? I mean, that's pretty much what they're doing. They ride with their shooting, their scoring core of Harden and Durant, and they just need a little bit more time to heal and get healthy, and then figure out this new NBA style of basketball that they're bringing this year. I mean, as far as the referees are calling, they're calling it differently this year than they were in past years, but just to take a moment for really solidified all-star, solidified top 75. I think both of them made the top 75 players of all time to really figure it out. I mean, hey, they're in that list for a reason. So, and LaMarcus is just a really great score. Like he's a fundamentalist, right? He fundamentally plays the basketball the way it was meant to be played. He's a good big man. He isn't gonna wow you in any way. But he had his time. He may be past his prime, but he still can legitimately score on the block against anybody. He just doesn't have the same hops or athletic ability which he did have when he was younger. But that's besides the point. He understands the game. He knows how to play team basketball, and overall, I think they're going to be okay. Interesting enough, Blake Griffin has taken a back seat. And
yes,
is okay with it, and is really has expressed his opinion on it, and he feels like, hey, if that's best serves the team, and he's willing to do it. I'm not sure how long that will last, but for right now, they seem okay.
Yeah. For whatever reason, they've given Blake the same treatment we've given Kimba. They've took him out of the rotation, and they're not missing a beat. It hasn't hurt them. So I mean, but really that they're a different team. It shouldn't hurt them, whatever.
Right.
Like all the stars they got on the team, and they got the right set of role players, so
Right.
they're in
But
good shape.
for me, it's always been for them, for that team, for Brooklyn, it's championship or bust. It doesn't matter how many injuries they have in Brooklyn. What do they have to overcome? They're either championship or bust. That's basically how they have to live this entire season and seasons to come. However
Right,
long Durant and Harden and whoever else they decide to put on that team, it's
right,
it's championship or bust. We, on the other hand, have it a little different. We have the upward scalability. We can scale it up over the years and be okay. However, our Knicks fans want to win now. So, it's okay, but we will get there. Our upward trajectory is a lot different from what we see in Durant and Harden, because they're almost on their last limbs, right? They
right.
probably got another good 3-4 years left playing this game at a high
Yeah,
level.
that sounds about right, man. Like and
Right.
they're
Salute to the
definitely.
chat. They're on and popping today.
Yes, sir. Salute to the chat. Thank you guys for tuning in. Appreciate y'all as always. Yeah, I mean, listen, it is what it is, man. Like the next team that I would normally talk about would be the second best team in this division, the Atlantic Division. But that's the Knicks, and we have our time to get back to the Knicks. So we're gonna skip around and come back, y'all. But we definitely gonna cover the Knicks. Um, you know, I'd like to talk about the Chicago Bulls, my friend,
Right.
because the Chicago Bulls got off to a hot start and starting to look like they were starting to become the darlings of the NBA. Everybody was starting to jump on the bandwagon, but
Riding that coattail.
yeah, but looks like the Bulls have kind of come back down to earth a little bit too. They've run
Right.
into some issues. That Eastern Conference is an animal, man. It's good, and all
Yeah.
these teams got to deal with it.
Yeah.
Pretty much still the same, scoring. They're still led by DeMar DeRozan and still Zach LaVine.
Right.
Vucevic is back, so that's good for them.
Mhm.
And they are pretty much just treading right where they've been. They're not on any specific streak. They won their last game, but they seem to be kind of like I said, they're starting to deal with the fact that other teams have been playing well, and
Right.
it's brought them
And
down a little peg.
they have the opportunity to game plan against that team now that they know how they're led, right? They have finally got to look at their offensive schemes, what their weaknesses may be defensively, and there are some teams, like for instance the Knicks, who have played them multiple times and have sort of put together a nice little blueprint for other teams
Right.
to take a look at, because we won the two that we faced when we faced them. So um, and other teams are taking notice. So DeMar DeRozan are great, and Zach LaVine are really good players, solid all-star caliber players. They ain't gonna surprise you with anything, though. You know what you're getting. You know what they're coming with, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Well, I mean, not to take anything away from them, because even though I say they're coming back down a little bit, they're still
yeah,
14-8. They
yeah,
they
they got
got
a good
off to
record.
a really nice start, so they're doing good.
Absolutely.
And the fact that they got Vucevic back, and he actually made history the other day.
Mm,
He's on the short list of players that in NBA history who scored 30 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, and had 5 threes without a miss in a game. I know that's
nice.
a weird stat, but it's still a stat. It's history. What can you do?
Hey, Vucevic is going to be good for them. I mean, he packs an inside presence, not necessarily defensively, but offensively. He's a strong person to be on the block. He could play off of pick and roll. He's a really good passer, and he's strong. He rebounds well for a big man, and that's what you look for. And he can stretch the floor. I mean, sort of what we've been eyeing, in the last few
Right.
years, hoping that we could find a stretch five. Um, but they're in good shape. I think that Vucevic coming back is gonna help them a lot.
No, I agree with you on that. And then that brings us to the Milwaukee Bucks, who they're 13-8, and
Right.
they have won 7 in a row.
They're
When
getting
we
there.
said before that the Bucks was going to get right, it's just going
Yep.
to be a matter of time. Guys starting to come back and they're starting to get healthy. The Bucks is just a real good team, man. I mean, I know you are always a big fan
Yeah.
of how the Bucks play, John.
Yeah. It's really about their health, right? If they could stay healthy through an entire year and not lose too many key members of that starting five and bench row, like their core bench players, they're gonna be okay. They're gonna be right there in the thick of it. They probably end up the season, winning the East. I wouldn't doubt it. And we're going to see a lot of them. So nothing to be said. They're world champions. They're defending world champions. They know what it means to be a champion. Now they need to know how to defend that championship. So we're going to hear a lot about them. They're always going to be around. They ain't going nowhere unless a serious injury impacts the team. I see them right there.
Yeah,
One,
I
two,
think
one or two seed.
right. And they did get DeMarcus Cousins now. So that's just another weapon that
Has he
can help
played
their
yet?
team. No. He actually is supposed to play versus. Well, they expect him to play versus the Charlotte Hornets, which.
I think everybody's wondering whether or not he still has enough left, and if those injuries that sort of weighed on him during the Houston transition from the Warriors to the Houston, how is that? Like, is he going to be effective? Does he have the mobility to be a strong enough defender to get minutes on the court? We know he can rebound, but can he do the other things that he was so good at when he was, an all-star?
right, and that game actually against the Hornets is tonight.
Oh, that's interesting.
So he might be suiting up. He's going to be
Something
suiting up, but he might be in the game tonight, possibly. I don't know. I
something
don't
for
know if
folks to look out
yeah,
for.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I mean, the Bucks are the Bucks, man. That's one thing. At the end of the year, the Bucks is going to be right there.
Hey, for all you Milwaukee fans that are watching right now, you guys got yourself a good one. Yeah. Got the I want to say a good 5 to 6 years left of having winning championship caliber basketball played in Milwaukee. Enjoy it, have fun with it, and hopefully we'll be there soon.
Yeah. I hope we can get there, man. I like that. What Milwaukee has done is just, I mean, imagine that
Smart.
Milwaukee won the. It's crazy. I still can't. I can't fathom the fact that Milwaukee won the championship in all
Keep
these
keep
years, man.
keeping the right pieces together, adding a few others, making
Yeah.
sure that you connect with the right players that want to be there, that see the vision and are all in and put in the work. That's really what it took.
Yeah, and it continues to work for them.
Yeah.
Um, and really quickly, that brings us to the Southeast Division, and at this point, the Miami Heat are still the team to beat over there. They're still out there,
Mhm.
basically, controlling what's going on, even though they're tied with Washington.
Right.
But they have the edge as far as the head to head. So right now Miami is in front.
Right.
Um, that's another team that got off to a really hot start, and they looked like they were like clicking on all cylinders. But once again,
Mhm.
this is a thing that as fans we all have to look at and understand it's real. Maybe the flip is actually happening, John.
Right.
The Eastern Conference is just so much more competitive and so good that even when you get out to a good start, and part of that is too because the NBA was just starting. All the teams are kind of figuring out how they want to play,
Right.
how they look out there on the court. They're making adjustments, and so Miami got out to a hot start. They had came out the gate blazing, but now all these other teams are starting to kind of figure it out and get their games going, and it's
Yep.
a lot more competitive. So yeah, man, the Miami Heat. But they're still right there, and they're still a very good team. And I definitely think that when we play them, it's going to be tough. The Knicks going to have a matchup nightmare. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree. They're gonna have a matchup nightmare, and we just got to come and bring the same energy we did when we came into the to play against the Nets. I mean that's our reality as a Knicks culture, Knicks teams. the team that we have today will have to bring high energy, get into rhythm, get into to their sets early, in order to compete this entire season. And we're no strangers to Miami. We understand how they play. We know their coaching staff. Tibbs is well aware of how they coach, how they play. He knows some of their players really well. And so we ain't going to have a problem scheming against them, but
Mm-hmm.
can we provide the energy, the rhythm that it takes to get going and get going often, and commit to breaking their runs and making some runs of our own. You know what I mean?
Right.
Which is key against a team like Miami. They, it's a great organization. Top notch, well coached. They got solid players. They they're like one season away from a championship, right? So they're right there too.
Right.
And to be honest, they actually gained momentum because Washington, for a bit of time early in the season, was above in the East. I mean, in the South, what is it, Southeast?
Southeast.
Southeast, division, and they held first place in that division for quite some time, and now, of course, with the head-to-head and everything, they're tied. But Miami takes the lead now, so we've seen that pendulum shift a little bit.
Yeah, yep, we have. And the only thing that Miami is dealing with that is a little bit concerning is that Bam Adebayo had a thumb injury, and so you know
Right.
he's gonna have surgery, and that's gonna keep him out for maybe they said around 6 weeks. So
That's a
that's
big
that's
loss. It's a tough
that's
loss.
tough. That's tough.
That's 19 and what? 19 and 8 is what he brings on a regular basis, or 19 and
Yeah,
12
yeah.
or something
No,
like
it's
that.
19 and 12, I think. 19
19
and
and
12.
12. Yeah. So that's a big impact player right there. And he played, he's not really known for his defense, but he plays it well. I mean, when you watch him, he's everywhere. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
he is.
He guards 1 through 5. So, it's a big impact and it's a big blow for them. But like I said, they're well managed, they're well coached, and they'll figure it out. They'll figure out a way to break up that time that they're going to be missing him. And I'm not really sure who their backup center is though. Do you know?
Um, I
We haven't studied
believe.
them like that yet.
Yeah, yeah, because the whole thing about Miami is like Bam Adebayo is like always playing, and like he
Right,
commands so much attention. He's always in there,
right.
and garnering most of the minutes. So I don't know. Let's see here.
Salute to the chat once more. Salute to the chat. Thank y'all for joining us, tuning in to the NBA report. Hope y'all
Yeah,
enjoying the show.
we definitely appreciate y'all. Yeah, for whatever reason, this thing doesn't seem to be working well. Of course, that's what happens in live TV, baby.
It's all
Live
good. It's all good.
TV or live
Either
YouTube,
way,
whatever you want to call it.
either way, regardless of who's playing backup for that team, they're a solid team, and they're gonna make adjustments, and they'll make the right decisions for that team. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think they'll be fine. They still have so many other weapons over there, and they play such good team defense that I
Right,
think even though Bam Adebayo is a beast, like it's hard to
right,
say that you're just going to replace that guy, but
right.
I think they'll be okay. Yeah, I thought it was going to be him, but I didn't want to. Like I said, I haven't seen them play yet this season, so
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to jump out the window and say it was going to be Dwayne Dedman, but it is Dwayne
Oh, it's
Dedman.
Dwayne Dedman. Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
interesting.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and they got Omer Yurtseven, but I can't tell you about that guy.
I don't know who that
Dwayne
is.
Dedman, I know what he can do.
Right. He's a decent player. He's a decent player. And I'm with you, T-Bone. It's torture for us too, but we're doing it for the NBA. We're doing an NBA report. So we definitely feel you. It is a bit torture, but we're doing this on behalf of folks that don't necessarily watch the full NBA. And we want to kind of give inside scoop on the teams that we'll be seeing throughout the season. So we'll mostly cover a little bit of the East, or maybe a sprinkle of the West. And that's what we're doing. This is why it's called the NBA report.
Yeah, and listen, you know what? Regardless of whether we want to hear about these other teams or not, you know what? We got to play these other teams, and we
We got to
just
know who we
recently
facing.
played them. Yeah, you gotta know what's going on with them because it's just good. It helps you understand your team too because you know what's going on with these other teams. You're like, okay, I think we should be have no problem playing them. We match up well. It's useful information. Believe me, I know. Sometimes I'm like, ugh, man, I
I don't
hate
want to talk
talking
about
about Brooklyn,
Miami.
but come
And
on
I really
now.
don't want to talk about our, Jesus, really? Like
What? Come
I feel
on
you.
now. But yeah, man. So that brings us to the last team I want to touch on real quick in the East, and that is the Washington Wizards. And the Washington Wizards are 13-8 right now. Like I said, they're just below Miami because Miami's got a better head-to-head.
Right.
But they've been still playing well, 13-8. They got
Consistent.
off to a really nice start. And look, I mean,
Yep. Led by
from
Dinwiddie, led by Dinwiddie and wow, I'm gonna draw a blank on their
Beal.
best play. Yeah, Bradley Beal. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Two solid front court players, man. And what can you say? Their supporting cast has also done really well. And their bench play has been, solid all season so far. So listen, you got to give credit what credit is due. No one would have saw this coming. Washington is a legit team right now, and we're gonna have to face them, and we're gonna have to play well against them in order to, break that threshold of what fourth or fifth seed.
Right.
That's a team that we may have to contend with down the stretch.
Well, the funny thing about the Wizards is that even though they still look pretty consistent, they lost one game, so they're not on any
Right.
streaks either way. But they have been struggling lately. Their offense has not been too great.
Right.
And from some of the Washington news, like we have our own Nick community and Nick news, some of the Washington news out there is they're not loving how the offense is being orchestrated with Spencer Dinwiddie out there.
Right.
So that's surprising to me. But
Yep.
listen, every team is going through something. You know what I
It's
mean?
true.
It doesn't
So
matter. It
true.
doesn't matter what team it is. Every team's going through something.
So true. Yeah. Oh, back court. You're right. Front court. Sorry. Thanks for the
Yeah. So
correction.
the chat is on it as
They're
usual. Let's
on it.
go,
On it.
chat. Let's go.
Yes. And again,
Um,
salute to the chat. Appreciate it. Appreciate the
yeah,
input.
appreciate all y'all. And I don't know if you guys can. I mean, if you guys have been tuning in with us the past couple of weeks, you see how the show has been carried out. This time around, we're trying to kind of get through things a little quicker on the front end, so maybe we can get a little bit of chat participation on the back end. So
Absolutely.
bear with us, guys. Bear with us.
So think about those
Um,
questions because we'll be
yeah,
probably
yeah,
coming to you.
definitely. And so then that brings us to a couple, teams that I want to talk about real quick that we haven't really touched on too much since we've started the show, and that would be the Phoenix Suns and the Golden State Warriors. Now, first off, let's give the
Game.
Phoenix Suns their kudos, man. 18-3,
Clap it
winners
up.
of 17 in a row, man. Let's go. They are hotter than fish grease out here in these streets.
Very nice. Very
Okay.
nice.
Yeah,
I
by
personally
Devin.
didn't. I personally, before we go into the stat,
Mhm.
I personally didn't think they were going to win that one yesterday. But
No, I didn't either.
They did their thing.
Yeah.
All right.
No,
Sorry.
that got but I told you, I said I thought that the streak was going to be over, right?
That's a fact.
We were wrong.
Yeah, we sure
We were
was.
wrong. Not the first time. Won't be the last time. But anyway, yeah, they're led by Devin Booker, who is averaging 23 points per game, DeAndre Ayton, who's averaging 16 points per game, and Chris Paul, who is in a very manageable 14 points per game. Chris Paul is just out there playing basketball, man.
He's
He ain't
enjoying
trying
his
to do
time.
too much. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man, this team is a buzzsaw, bro. We saw them firsthand, and
Yes,
they're
sir.
real.
And they made us look minuscule as a team, which to me is also a blessing in disguise that they actually won against the Warriors, right? Because now it shows that they're a formidable team. They aren't just a sort of a one-hit wonder team that was good last year
Right.
and wouldn't make it back. It looks like they're gonna be contending to make it back this year. And the New York Knicks just didn't have it when we played against them, and we really have to step up our game and look at the Phoenix Suns as sort of as a team to look at and say, hey, we should be looking at that as we start developing our game and figuring out how to play the game and what sort of energy we should come into a game with. It's a good barometer team to look at.
Yeah, I mean the defense is quick. It's fast. They
Mhm.
put a lot of pressure on the opposing team. They get into the passing lanes. They get steals. They're
Yep.
just a fun team to watch. And then on the offense, it's. I mean, the pick
Yeah.
and roll game with Chris Paul, it's a thing of beauty. And the shooting, like when you got
It's
guys
gotten
on the
better.
team that, yeah, I mean, they're just, oh
Who would
man,
have thought? I mean, Crowder
I
was good
can't
with
believe it.
Miami. Crowder was good with
Right,
Miami. He did it for Miami
right.
too. So you got to give him credit because he's doing it again this year. And he has some shots down the stretch of that game.
Oh man, but you know what? As I told you before, for whatever reason, the Phoenix Suns have always been a team that I kind of followed back in the Dan Marley days. I don't hate them, so
Right.
it is what it is. Good for them, but not when they play us. So next time, I think we might see them one more time. Let's
I'll
try to
bring
win
that
the game.
energy.
You know what I mean?
Let's
Come
bring
on,
that
man.
energy. Let's
Um,
compete. That's what we asked
compete.
for. That's
So
it.
then, the flip side of that is you got the 18-3 Phoenix Suns, and you're like, they've won 17 in a row. But you know
Right.
what? They're tied with the 18-3 Warriors. That's how good the Warriors have been all year. And what does that say about the Steph Curry-led Warriors, who's averaging 28.7 points per game? He's doing what he's normally does. And the other scorers on that team are Andrew Wiggins at 18 points per game and Jordan
Right.
Poole at 18 points per game. So
Jordan Poole having redemption right now, and he's sort of probably going for that most improved player of the year award.
yep, he's
If
definitely
not
in the
that,
running for that.
6-man award as well, in the running for that as well. So
Yeah, yeah.
um,
No,
I I've always liked his game. He's just taking it to another level. I think it's also the system he's playing in, the unselfishness in which the Warriors play with, and for Curry, it's all about his legacy. Right now, these are all legacy games. Like he's already cemented, you know, top players in the NBA. At the very least, top 10 players in the NBA of the NBA.
right.
You know what I mean? I mean, best shooter is without a doubt that we've ever seen because he's changed the game forever. I mean, the reason why we're looking at the games we're looking at the way they played is
Right.
primarily because of him. And you could some would say the D'Antoni, run and gun offense and all of that. So a combination of the two, but his shooting, bar none, has changed the NBA forever. So
Yeah.
for the Warriors to come out this quick, they're showing that they want to be back, where they feel like they belong, which is a championship caliber team. And
Hmm.
they're really playing well together, and they put together the nice pieces. They haven't gotten Clay back, but once Clay gets back, let's see what he brings to the table. And if he could stay healthy, they're one of those teams to beat. Top three at the very least, but could potentially win win the West.
Yeah, and they're a very fun team to watch play basketball. Just the Phoenix
Yeah,
Suns and Golden State are just like, you want to see a basketball game and maybe you're not invested in a certain team. You just want to see good basketball
good
being
basketball.
played. Those are two teams to watch, man, because they do things right.
Yeah,
They don't have the exact same style. Their styles are different, yet they're both really effective. So
absolutely.
kudos to both those teams, and hopefully one day, as we continue to grow with the Knicks organization, they'll continue to put pieces around them and get a system in place where they'll be playing that type of basketball too. Maybe
And
not
we'll
their style, but their own style.
and we'll be saying the same thing about them and loving every minute of it.
Exactly,
Just
exactly. So
smiling from ear to ear.
it just takes some time. It takes some time.
Right,
But let's be patient. It'll work itself out, man. It'll work itself out. We'll be all right.
right.
But speaking of that, that does bring us to the point of talking about our New York Knicks. It's
That's
time for the
right.
Knicks back page. We are
Let's
here,
talk about
folks.
it.
We are here. And you know what? Let's just start off with what everybody wants to talk about. They've been talking about it. We still got that sour taste in our mouth. And that's that game last night versus the Brooklyn Nets. And as you guys know, we did have the NBA watch party, NBK watch party,
Yes, we did.
and we were at Legends Bar. We did a pregame and a postgame, and it was a fun experience.
It's a great
It
time.
was great to see everybody who showed up. It was nice to be out there with my man John.
I finally made
Last
one.
time we did something, he wasn't there, so I'm happy he was there.
Yeah, I
So
was
that
happy
was
to be
great. And yeah, man, it was a good experience overall. What did you think about it, John?
Again, say exact sentiments, man. It was a great time. It was an enjoyable day to be there with all of our with Nick Nation and the NBK family, and just enjoying our time together, being able to watch and enjoy sort of our run, because we made a nice little run in the third quarter to bring it back down to so we could be competitive. I mean, we were very competitive coming into the fourth quarter. And we were right there. The game was right there for the taking. Unfortunately for us, there was some, calls that didn't go our way. And unfortunately, for Julius, couldn't keep his head. It kind of cost us one. But look, we were there. We had a shot. We had a shot at it. And it's unfortunate because I wish the way they've been talking about the NBA refereeing this year was about they're letting them play, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They didn't let them play yesterday.
No, they did not.
Right? And in Brooklyn, of all places. Because you know why? And I'll say they were mad. The NBA was mad that New York Knicks fans were in Brooklyn heavy. In the Parklays making crazy noise. That's what it came down to. They were hating. They were like, how y'all getting that much love at an opponent's arena? But we get that everywhere. We get that in, wherever you call it. Atlanta, we get that. We get it in Orlando. There's only a few places where we don't get more love, in their specific areas. So,
Right.
But for the most part, man, Knicks fans are everywhere. We're worldwide. You know what it is.
This is true. We get mad love everywhere we go. So and it was just another situation where that was a home game. You know what I mean? Knicks
sure
were in that
was.
building heavy. So I look, what everything was kind of based off emotion last night, guys. The Knicks, we didn't like how they came out the gate. I mean, they came out the gate all right, but we didn't like how they started playing. And then we wanted to see certain things. Then we get to the third quarter, and that's when things started to fall apart. But you know what? I haven't looked at the whole game back, but I have been looking at certain things. And even though I want to say that the Knicks lost that game in the third quarter on their own, I will say that the refs did us dirty. Like it's no question about it. Some of those calls are bad. And then the one where Julius's ankles got cracked by Durant, this dude traveled. This dude double dribbled. I'm like, come on, man. Even Nerlens Noel was like, he was doing this with his hands. I guess that's how he double dribbles. I was like, okay. But yeah, man, even he saw it. Like, come on, they gotta do a better job, man. I don't want to kill. The team played good. They played hard. They came out with effort. We love that about them. Julius played good. And the reason why I'm saying Julius played good
solid. He played solid.
Yeah, he played solid.
Ask more than what he did,
He went
outside
into
of
the
getting
paint.
into his head. Yeah.
Yeah. But he went into the paint, which we've been, kind of screaming, get him into the paint. You know what I mean? So
make a move. That's the one thing that if there's any criticism to this game, right? And I would say this: start early, get to it earlier. Like get the ball. And I understand you try to create a set, but before you watching them, if your guys don't move, then they don't move. You have to make a move, right? If your guys around you aren't moving, let Tibbs handle that. You know what I mean? If your teammates ain't getting to their sets, let Tibbs handle that. Handle your part. Make a move. Make the defense move. Make them make a decision on whether they're going to collapse on you or not. You can't just keep holding the rock that long and then fake and fake. Like we're losing time. It's bad enough that we start our sets super late into it. Like we're 10 seconds remissed or missing 10 seconds. Like we're usually starting our sets at 15 seconds. You know what I mean? And then we're shooting with like 4 seconds left, 3 seconds left. It's like we're up against the shot clock. We got to get to our sets earlier. Julius, you get the ball, turn on them, make a move. That's it. Make a basketball move. Once you make a basketball move, everything else will open up. That's a fact. But that's my only criticism right now. But I love his energy. I love he's bringing it. He's bringing that passion. He showed a lot of passion yesterday. A little bit too much, but you're gonna make those mistakes. Hey, Tibbs made that mistake as well, right? Because you think about him taking that looking the review. That review you probably didn't need to take. You know what I mean?
But you know what? I mean, I fault him for it because it came back to hurt us. We could have, first off, we needed that timeout.
We sure
and
did.
Secondly, we could have used that review again because there were so many questionable calls. You know what I mean?
Right.
But he was, Tibbs was
hot.
He loves hot. New York too. He was hype. It was a good game. It was a pressured game. He was hype, and he wanted to go with the players. The players wanted him to challenge, and so he
Plus
did.
Derek did sell it. Yeah, Derek did sell it.
Derek sold it. Exactly.
But to his, it's one of those things because we talk about this new NBA and those rules. Like we talked about it, they're supposed to be letting them play through it, and they didn't really do that yesterday because that was like a really ticky-tack foul. Like it was, he barely brushed up against them. So
yeah, that was bad, man. That was bad. I mean, I don't know what they're doing out here. The NBA is so inconsistent this year. It's one games they let them play you like, oh man, what the hell's going on? It's like 90s NBA. And then the next game, everything's a foul. Like, come on.
What was the game where we were getting beat up and bloodied? What was that game? Well, I forget who it was against.
I can't remember, but I definitely know there was a game where like they were not calling anything.
Nothing.
And
nothing. I was like, what's going on? It's back in the 90s. I was loving it, to be honest. I was like, let's go. Play through that, but this one yesterday was like, come on, son. It's not
it was tough. And before we move on, I just want to address this real quick, guys. Look, I couldn't really look at it while we was talking about it yesterday, and I saw people talking in the chat. They were a little upset, certain things that was said, but you're looking at the game wrong. Okay, Derrick Rose played great. I think he had about 9 assists or so. He was fantastic out there. But when I say that the team needs a floor general, they need a floor general, a guy. It's not about can you pass the ball to somebody and you get an assist so they scored a basket. It's about dribble, drive, and dish, setting guys up so they have good opportunities, easy shots, whatever it may be, and creating a flow of offense. There was times out there in last night's game where it was like 4 guys, 1 guy with the ball, and 4 guys standing around the perimeter, just looking, like not knowing what to do because they wasn't like. First off, it was Burks starting and controlling the offense, and he's not a facilitator. So there was moments where there was just nothing going on, guys. It's not about not enjoying and not appreciating the good efforts that our guys are giving us. It's about having a specific type of guy who control. You see it. There's a difference between Derrick Rose and Chris Paul. There's a difference between Steph Curry and Chris Paul, if you want to give him a little of that, because sometimes he has his moments where he orchestrates too. But like the good point guards who set up other guys, it's just different. That's all I wanted to get out there. We're not bashing Derrick. We love Derrick. He was great. Right. I'm happy he's back. We need Derrick. So,
but to be honest too, it's also there's the new NBA, man. Like it's not what it used to be. Point guards are a dime a dozen now. Like you see it. For the most part, it's point guard by committee. It's not necessarily what most would consider a point guard, a PG. It would be someone who can mix it up and play multiple positions. Who may run the point or run a set, offensive set, one time down the court or a couple of times down the court, and then there'll be a small forward or someone else. You look at your Doncic's, right? That's Doncic is playing a point guard position, but is he really a point guard? Like, let's be real. It's that Magic era type of basketball, but you're bringing these guys who do everything, who do a little bit of everything. They may not be great defenders, but they do everything you want offensively. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's where we at, man. I mean, so I don't fault the Knicks and Tibbs for making that decision. Bringing in someone like Burks to to take the reign as a someone who could get us into sets and sort of play that point guard position. But yeah, it's going to be interchangeable for our team. You know,
Right. Yeah, I agree.
that's right. Smash that like button.
Yeah, we got. Well, I'm gonna touch on it. Pudge Nice says refs cheat us even in the G League. Yeah, man. Listen,
Hey,
it's crazy out here. It's crazy. It's crazy. I don't know, but yeah, man. I think there's plenty of negative stuff that we could focus on, but the bottom line is last night was promising. The Knicks looked like last year's Knicks on the defensive end, the way they was getting after it. We played a nice close game against the Nets. We had a chance to win it. It came down to the last couple minutes. It is what it is, guys. We lost by 2 points, so let's not hang our heads. Let's just go get the next one. That's all.
That's we got to.
Things are going to look good. They're looking better. I feel good about it. So, but you know what? And another promising sort of news for the Knicks, we've been experiencing some good play from one guy in particular who was promoted to the starting lineup.
Interesting.
And that's our Biz Marquee Player of the Week.
Yes, by the way, that's Alec Burks. But by the way, that's not me beatboxing.
Yeah. That's the one and only. It's Biz. No copyright. But yeah, definitely, man. Alec Burks has been playing really good basketball. He's been asked to do a lot for our team. He knows he's not the traditional type of point guard. He's more of a combo guard who can do a little bit of everything. He's still got sneaky athleticism. He can pass the ball when we need him to. Not a great facilitator, but he still can pass the ball when we need him to. He definitely knocks down that 3-point shot. He can get to the hole. He plays good defense. I think last year we had that whole thing. Was it Bullocks? Was it Burks? No, Burks is good. Bullocks may have been a little bit better on defense, but Burks is not far behind them, man. Yeah, so I'm very happy with Alec Burks. What about you, John?
Absolutely, same sentiment, man. Alec has done a great job, so far this year. Could potentially be the best move we made, in the offseason is keeping him, and signing him to that 3-year deal. Again, he could play so many different areas, right? He can play the stretch, he could play the 3, he could play the 2. He obviously can run the 1, run us through sets, play off ball, play with ball, pick and roll. Right. He does a lot of great things on the court. He's sort of an interchangeable player. So yeah, man, Burks is solid NBA player all around.
I agree.
Happy to have him.
Yeah, man. Thank you to Tibbs for making this move. Maybe there's more moves to be made or more things to change, but for right now, I think it's a move that's going to help us for the short term. So, and we'll go from there. But you know what? The whole point of us doing stuff like this is so we can kind of get back to our old days, the way the Knicks used to play back in the day. Championship Knick type ball. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It's time to take a look at that, man. With our blast from the past for this week.
Oh, and we're going to try that one again. Let's go for that one again, because that was last week's.
Yeah.
That was our man Knowles right there. Let's see if we got
get that one going. Yeah, but we do have another blast from the past. And he has been one of the staples. And I knew about him. He got like a boxing name, if you ask me. I mean, doesn't he?
He does. Well, some would say that, yeah. Richie Guerin. And
yeah, man, that's a boxer.
That's a boxer. Richie Guerin, I'll give you some information on him. The Knicks drafted Guerin with the 8th overall pick in the second round of the 1954 NBA draft. And while still active on active duty, after leaving the Marine Corps, Guerin would begin his professional basketball career in 1956. So that's 2 years later. Guerin was a machine-like scorer, a gifted passer, a smart playmaker, and one of the best rebounding and driving guards of his era. He led the Knicks in assists for 5 consecutive seasons and in scoring 3 times during his 7 full seasons in the Big Apple. And he tallied more than 20 points per game in 4 consecutive years. The explosive Guerin also set Knicks single-game records for scoring with 57 points in 1959 and assists with 21 in 1958. His 57-point game stood as a Knick record until Bernard King, our guy, Brooklyn-born, scored 60 points on Christmas Day in 1984. So that's a little bit of Knick history.
Okay.
Shout outs to Richie Guerin.
Salute to Mr. Richie Guerin, man. You used to get some buckets. 57?
Bucket getter.
All right. Once a Knick, always a Knick. We appreciate you. A blast from the past, Mr. Richie Guerin. Yeah, man.
Yes, sir.
Well, listen, that's good stuff, man. That's good stuff. I like these segments because it helps me start to understand some of our older generation of Knick players that maybe I didn't get a chance to see firsthand, or even in replays. There's still a lot of Knick basketball from back in the day that I haven't watched, so I'm actually kind of curious to see some of these games and see how they played. I know it's a different style of basketball, but it was a winning style. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, and I like that MSG from time to time they do something. I forget what they call the actual show, but it sort of goes back in the history archives. They don't have all the games because not all the games were recorded back in those days, but the ones that they do have, they're pretty interesting to watch. You see, the game was a lot different. Everybody's dribbling, with their right or left hand. They never really switched it up. Everyone's low to the floor. Everyone's low to the floor. The passes are very unique.
Right.
All sort of set passes. But yeah, man, it's cool to go back in history and because we have such a history of our own. Madison Square Garden being the mecca of basketball. And, with that history comes is the reason why Knicks fandom is what it is today, because they built such a great history at MSG.
Yeah. Let's see if we can kind of go through a couple people, give some shout outs,
some questions, and get some questions up.
Just want to say what's up to everybody. Salute to y'all. Tony Crow in the building. Kev Rodriguez, Dripmore, the Fishers, Jay Boogie.
Yes, sir.
Chevion Productions, Geraldine McIver, Stafford Don, D Grant. You know who you is. We know who you is.
We know who you is.
Blue Hefner, Mike Morgan, pseudonym. That's a tough one for me, man. I tried.
I see you did. Like you went there.
Yeah. T-Bone, the New York Knicks. Streets is buzzing. Salute. That's my left. Pardon me.
Sir.
Zaul Martinez.
Man,
Eddie. Pudge Nice. Quiet Money. It was great to see you yesterday. Chopping it up with you, brother.
Facts.
Jay Hall. JC. And let's see here. So okay. Wait a minute. Oh, okay. So Pudge Nice said Tibbs saved his job. Oh, okay. So you think like that making that move was huge for him, right? If he didn't make that move, he might be on the outs.
Yeah, you see he got Cat on with number 32 with the Knicks on right there on his profile. I see you.
He's putting it in the EO.
Put it, yeah, that's right. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. JC says the issue with the Knicks is not point guard play, it's not defense, it's scoring droughts. Well, I'm starting to agree with you on that. I think the defense has gotten a lot better. I think the scoring and some of the ways they run their offense puts them in bad positions sometimes.
Right. That's true.
Geraldine, she says at Pudge Nice, for now, Tibbs is on the clock. He is overrated. Gonna throw somebody under the bus, and it's Kimba. Next, it will be Evan.
We shall see.
Mm.
Use
Right.
Reggie Kieran like score. That's a
That's
fact.
a fact.
That is a fact.
Quality jumper. We might be able to use you, brother. Quality jumper. What's that about? We might need that. That's what we missing.
Quality jumpers.
Yeah. Lonnie Holloway, salute.
Salute.
Let me see.
Man, there was a question early on. There was it was talking about the Nets, even though
Yeah, Eddie said, "How do you think the Nets feel about the game? Probably think the game shouldn't have been that tight." Facts. I think they would definitely think that the game shouldn't have been that tight. But guess what? Our New York Knicks ain't that bad, man. We right. Still, when we come to play with effort, we in every game. It's all. I'll tell
you what they were really thinking. I wish we were playing for the Knicks at Madison Square Garden, because that's what it felt like. That's basically what they were like. Why can't we have this much fanfare for us? Instead, they got all those suits. It's not a good look. Man. Not a good look.
Yeah. Brooklyn is kind of fugazi right now, man. They be doing some stuff, pumping crowd noise.
Listen, it's not the Brooklyn we grew up in. You hear what I'm saying, Ron?
Look, I'm not trying to say anything too bad about. I know that there's Brooklyn Nets fans out there who love the fact that there's a team in Brooklyn. Okay, but listen, right now they still. I don't care what their record is. They're still second fiddle to the New York Knicks.
That's right.
Yes.
What else we got?
If there's anything else,
I love to hit the smash button. That's keeps hitting that smash button.
Appreciate that. Let's make that math add up. Let's go. Smash that like button. Run it up. Show your love. Let's go.
That's right.
Let's go. The new Knicks. That's right.
What else we got? If y'all on the chat, man, hit us with some questions. There was another question around Nets at some point. ISO ball.
Dan Jones, salute. We play too much ISO ball. You don't see many players cutting to the basket or Randall actually using his size in the post. The offense is too predictable. And you know what? I agree with you. But if last night was the indication, that's nice. It was a nice look. Randall was in the post a lot more. He was trying to get that bully ball on, which we like. We like to see it. I hope it stays that way.
Has to happen quicker. Just has to happen quicker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Make that basketball move a little quicker, more concise, and then let everybody play off of that energy. But I absolutely agree, because there were moments in time during the game where we were stagnant, like you said earlier. We were kind of sitting around looking. No one was moving. No one was cutting to the basket. No one was making basketball moves.
Ranking the best players in the East, where is Julius? Maybe 9 through 15.
I don't know. I would have to have a piece of paper and jot them all down.
It's tough. It's tough. But yeah, you might be right. He could be. I mean, when you just think about all the good players, like the Embiids, the Jokic's, the Doncic's, the Curry's. Yeah, there's a lot. So he might be in that range. I mean, yeah, because he's not that bad. I think he's top 20. I think he's top 20.
Let's go 1 through 25. Give it a little wiggle room, because there's some guys. All right. Man. There's some players.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys. That's true.
He hasn't gotten to that point where you're like top 15, top 10. I don't know if he's there yet. At least that's not where I would place him. You're talking about maybe in the East, but not full NBA.
Yeah. And then I think Burks is on a 3-year deal right now. Right. Yeah. That's so right. We got him for a little bit, man, and but I don't think he's gonna stay in this role for them 3 years. I think there's gonna be some moves made. They're gonna bring in some type of legitimate point guard of some sort in here at some point. So, but yeah, guys,
I just want to say, I just hope we don't get to a point where we don't get over that threshold, and we don't kind of hover around 500, because if we hover around 500, in my assessment or my opinion is that we'll make a move and everyone's touchable at that point. Anyone could be moved within the team. I don't think anybody will be, everyone will be up for the chopping block. Anybody could be up for grabs at that point, because Tibbs likes to win. And I think the organization is sort of at their wit's end, and they want to change that dynamic as well. They want to become consistently a winning team, a playoff team. And that's their entire vision for this Knicks organization, is getting to the playoffs and being consistently in the playoffs year in and year out. And if they aren't doing that, then wholesale changes will happen, and
Right.
that could mean Burks will be also a high chip value at that point.
You're right. You're
So
right. Well, 1 second before we close out.
shout out to
Janice
Janice.
Johnson, salute. Knicks
Salute.
need a superstar.
Kyrie.
Right.
Yeah.
Kyrie messed that up for y'all. I guess that, yeah, Kyrie. I got you. Yeah. Well, listen. You know, it is what it is, man. Guys don't want to come here for whatever reason. They want to go to other teams.
It's their loss.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Their loss. You see, he's not playing right now, right? So he's looking at the games from home, looking at his team and saying, man, you guys almost lost against the Knicks. I wish I was playing. And then also on top of that, saying, why is that crowd all about the Knicks while we're at your home? You know what I mean? So that's really what it is. It's like we own New York, and it doesn't matter that they went across, the streets of Brooklyn. They're not getting the same kind of love, and they won't get the same kind of love. So they might as well take their ears back to Jersey.
Hey, well, unless they win the big one. I don't know. There's people jump. People jump. I'm not jumping, but people jump. I'm just saying.
I don't even see that as even possible, to be honest with you. Even if they win a chip, because that's really what it is. They either win a championship or they're a bust. So there's no in between for that team. So for me, if they win a chip, they still ain't gonna come with the same fanfare. It is what it is. They just gotta be okay with not owning the city. Just enjoy those contracts, because there's some good contracts out there.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Listen, Lonnie Holloway, I see what you're saying, man. That's what happened last night. The deck was stacked. Yeah, all the cards was on the table, man. It was bad.
Facts.
Yeah. Well, listen, we're gonna get up out of here, guys. We thank you for tuning in. So next up for us is the Chicago Bulls tomorrow night at 7:30. So hopefully we'll keep doing what we're doing against the Bull team. We match up well against them. So hopefully the Knicks, bring out some of that frustration from last night's game, and we take it out on them Bulls, because they're the next ones up. So definitely we got to do that.
If we win another one, we definitely got the blueprint. If we win 3 in a row against them, we definitely have the blueprint.
Yeah, I'm with that. I definitely like to see that. So once again, thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate you. Thank you for watching the MBK Network. For more Knicks programming, definitely like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you can be notified when there's any NBK shows that are going to go live or pre-recorded, whatever it is. And if you want to see more of myself, Ron, and my co-host John, definitely tune into the Still Knicks Fans podcast. We're out there, and you can see us usually on a Tuesday. It's sporadic right now, but it's usually Tuesday night. And that's pretty much it, man. Thank you guys once again. And salute to all of y'all for tuning in. John, anything that you want to say on the way out?
Peace, love, and respect, man. Like always. Thank y'all for tuning in. Have a great one.
Take care.